He's the founder and CEO bitsCrunch GmbH, a blockchain analytics company which is focusing on securing the NFT ecosystem. He worked for Siemens Mobility, Volkswagen AG, Telefonica GmbH in Germany. He's a master's graduate in electrical engineering and information technology from Technical University Munich, Germany. He's a three-time TEDx speaker and also the first Indian to be invited for a TEDx talk in Germany under 30. He has won numerous accolades for his contributions to the industry. And to name a few, top men leaders to look up to in 2021 by Passion Vista magazine, and top 40 data scientists under 40 in India, 20 plus inspiring data scientists to follow in 2020 by AI, Artificial Intelligence Time Journal from the United States, and so on. In today's episode, let us chat with Vijay-Pravin. This is the Guiding Voice podcast series, TGV, the Guiding Voice for a Better Future. Folks, I'm your host, Naveen Samala, just a fellow IT professional on a mission to shape the careers and lives of millions across the globe. In every episode, we interact with industry experts or thought leaders or academicians or coaches across the globe to drive some insightful conversations that will help each one of you learn some amazing stuff. Also, we share an interesting trivia or a fun fact towards the end. Thank you so much for joining me today. And you'll acquire more knowledge for every minute by tuning into the Guiding Voice than any other podcast in this space. Today, we are going to discuss the journey of a young entrepreneur, Vijay-Pravin. And we are extremely pleased to have Vijay part of the Guiding Voice journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Vijay, so nice to have you here. Hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice.
Thanks a lot, Naveen. It's been a pleasure talking to you and also the TGV community, I would say. Having interviewed more than 200, and in fact, it's closing to 240. Is an insane number to have as a badge, and I'm glad to be one among those market leaders. So thanks again for the invite.
Pleasure to have you on board, and we are enriching ourselves after each and every conversation. And I've been following a lot of your posts on LinkedIn. They're so intriguing and inspiring to the young generation. That's why I've been trying to reach you, and finally we made it happen. So I'm glad you're part of the journey today. So, Vijay, let us start the discussion with the top three things that have helped you so far in your professional journey.
So, one is building a balance, work-life balance, I would say. That is one of the topmost things that I've learned over this journey. And the second thing is the art of saying no to certain things. Because in business, when it comes to doing things, we tend to get carried away with a lot of things going around. So the art of saying no is the another thing. And the third most beautiful thing is to manage people. So people management is one thing that I would rate highly for every single entrepreneur out there that could be helpful in building a family. It is not just about building a brand, but only if you build a family, they can do wonders for the vision and mission that you carry. Yeah, thanks.
Excellent. This reminds me of a quote. Take care of your employees and your employees will take care of the customers. But you have gone one step beyond and treating your employees as part of your family, which is great. So Vijay, now let's talk about your enterprise, your venture, this bitsCrunch GmbH. How did this idea come through and how were you able to launch it successfully? Can you shed some light around it and share your journey so far with bitsCrunch?
Yes, for sure. So as the name says, we crunch each and every bits of data. So that's the meaning behind the name bitsCrunch. So we are primarily a data analytics firm. So data crunching is a term that is very common in the data analytics field. And that is why we have bitsCrunch. Since the beginning, I always wanted to have two words clubbed together as a brand name. Let's take Facebook, for instance, face plus book, Microsoft, micro plus soft. So I wanted to have this, and when we launched, we somehow got this beautiful name that also resonates with the brand, resonates with what we do. So we initially incorporated bitsCrunch in India way back in 2020, but then we were just trying to explore opportunities, explore things that are around us. And then in 2021, we set up an entity in Germany, that is bitsCrunch GmbH. That requires a capital of 25,000 euros. We did that, and now that is the headquarters of bitsCrunch as a whole. and we are a team of fastest growing team of 27 people sitting across Munich and other parts of Germany, Belgium, Canada, as well as in India. So we are a blockchain analytics firm that aims to secure the NFT ecosystem. So we help NFTs, which are the buzzwords in the last couple of years, 2021 and 2022, non-fungible tokens. So we make them secure. So yeah, that's in short about our child bitsCrunch. But yeah, more to come. A lot more to come.
Wonderful. I loved this analogy, crunching the bits of data just to see what's happening around and secure the NFTs. This brings me to my next question. Again, industry is full of buzzwords, and these buzzwords change every now and then. Like I was recently going through an article, and which said, if you want to survive in any industry today, we have to upgrade ourselves, because in the span of 2.5 years, things will change, right? And that happens to be much quicker in the IT industry. And just again, stepping back and talking about these NFTs, how do we explain these NFTs, the so-called non-fungible tokens, to a layman?
Yeah, so non-fungible tokens are an emerging asset class. More precisely, it would be a digital asset class in the near future. So same like how we purchase land, apartments, gold. So these are physical assets, right? So you can actually feel a gold. You can actually go to a land and do some wonders there. But non-fungible tokens are more like shares. If you have to compare it with the real world, shares or bonds, which is ideally, I mean, nobody has touched or felt shares of Microsoft or Google. So that's what you can relate. But these are all unique assets that are minted on blockchain. So the beauty about blockchain is everything will be minted on blockchain, that is traceable, that cannot be erased, that cannot be removed from the chain. And that is what makes it interesting. If you just look around, everything is digital around us, right from this podcast that we are doing via Zoom call, the office, the information that we are getting in from various sorts, right from the food that we order, right from the travel app that we use, everything is digital. So the generation Z and the tech entrepreneurs, they want to make use of these digital tools, and they would want to digitalize important things as assets. So yeah, in the near future, it could be one of the prominent digital asset class. But right now, it's just the start, and we are very early in this phase. And it's good that you're actually covering such a topic in one of your podcasts.
Yeah. I've been planning to discuss about this blockchain, metaverse, and Web3. For some reason, it is getting procrastinated. At least we made our first step through your episode. So glad that we're able to invite you to our show. Now let's talk about the bitsCrunch. Like, you guys are securing NFTs, and which means there are certain vulnerabilities that are existing in the NFTs, right? So what kind of vulnerabilities are existing today in the NFTs, and how are you guys securing them? Right? How are you dealing with the vulnerabilities so that NFTs ecosystem itself is preserved and secured? What's your take on that?
Vulnerabilities are everywhere. That is one thing that I want to put it clear up front, because even in banking industry, even in retail, commerce, or everywhere, web 1 world, let's call it web 2 world, or whatever it is, vulnerabilities are always there, and we always improve by each and every passing day, month, and year, right? So right now, NFTs are very niche. It's a new technology, new domain, and that is why there are existing vulnerabilities that are evident to eyes, especially to guys like me who come from a data background, because everything is on blockchain. Everything is publicly available. Let's take Ethereum or Polygon or Binance, whatever publicly available blockchains are there. We can literally see what has been minted at what time and by whom. So that makes it interesting. So I'll give you a couple of vulnerabilities. The first one is the wash trading, washing, converting black monies into white money. I mean, they call it in the Web2 world. They do it in the NFT space as well. So let's say somebody mints an NFT. Let's say Naveen mints an NFT. He sends it to Vijay, and Vijay sends it back to Naveen. And then we do it back and forth. And after 10 or 20 transactions, what Naveen has minted for $100 is now worth $500 after 20 transactions. So let's say somebody like Alex or Stephen who is looking at this NFT might get lured into this space because Naveen's NFT is now worth 5 times more than the minting cost. So that is what makes people go crazy. It's nothing to say wrong about the people because they are not sure how this went from $100 to $500. But as a data guy, as a data professional, we know how people are manipulating this space in a smarter way, and that is the reason why we are here to clean up the space. So we call ourselves the NFT police. If you ask me, I mean, my dad is a police, so I started doing this NFT police thing after founding bitsCrunch. Yeah.
I love the term. And you guys are trying to trap the criminals, okay, who are trying to steal the data and manipulate the data on NFTs. Yeah, quite interesting stuff. And I'm sure it must be very challenging as well as enriching journey. Now, that brings me to my next question. So you said you initially started this bitsCrunch in India, and now you have set it up as a bitsCrunch as an entity or enterprise in Germany. bitsCrunch GmbH, which takes about 25,000 euros to set up a heavy investment company kind of thing. So it's not a small thing. So my question is predominantly on the startup ecosystem, since you have seen both the worlds. Like, how is the startup ecosystem in Germany different from India, and is the environment as conducive as how we see it here in Germany as well?
So the startup ecosystem in Germany is much more stable, I would say, because they have all the infrastructure in place, all the legal, all the documents, all the stuffs that a founder needs at his early stage is right in place where it should be, right? So for instance, even with bitsCrunch, when we launched, we got a shared office space for 3 months for free of cost. That is totally sponsored by the government, the local government. So that is how these guys are promoting entrepreneurship through various ways. They give legal opinion for free for the first 3 months, which is actually good, because that is when we as founders, we need opinion, right? Can I do this? Can I do that? We would be skeptical at the start. So they provide a lot of support, ample amount of support at the beginning. And if you look at the Indian startup ecosystem, it is performing exceedingly well, especially in the last 2 years. In 2021 and in 2022, we saw a lot of unicorns climbing up from ashes. So if you look at the growth part, India is doing extremely well. But Germany, I mean, with the resources, with the limited resources that they have, they are climbing up by every single startup that they grow. So I would say it's more or like the same. One is higher at some, and if you look at India is doing better at other ends. So I'm glad that I could taste both the worlds of startup ecosystem.
Yeah, in fact, you are one among the lucky few, right? Yeah, that's great. And I always envy on this current generation. Like when we graduated, we didn't even have enough job opportunities, but now you have an opportunity to start your own venture. Of course, again, it's not a matter saying that you need all the resources. People have proven themselves without having enough resources as well, but still, the kind of ecosystem that is in place, right? It is quite motivating and all. And now, see, Vijay, you have 40K connections on LinkedIn. You have your own company. And if you talk about someone, right, Vijay is a king, or probably they say Vijay is a hero. But hero didn't become in a single day. Though you are a proven entrepreneur, right? I really wanted to understand what are some hard lessons that you have learned while becoming this Vijay-Pravin.
So taking up responsibilities, taking up ownership is something that I learned hard way. I always tell my team that I have been the one who did more number of mistakes here in the company. So I ask the team to go and unleash themselves to get the best out of them. Because when you set boundaries, you cannot get the best out of you. Because when you fear to try something new by having some boundaries, restrictions around you, that by thinking that if I do this, what if it goes wrong? What if I do that? So I asked the team to get rid of that ifs and buts and just unleash their potential. So this is something that I learned it hard way. And then, like I said at the beginning, learning to say no has crafted me. So we having got close to 50,000 connections. You get tons of messages, right? You get tons of texts on the social media. You hold a lot of responsibility, right? Because when I post something on LinkedIn or whatever platform, then I'm accountable. I am responsible for each and every words that I put it out there. So I'm being very cautious about that as well, because a lot of guys do follow me. So I'm very careful about what words I say, what actions that I take sometimes. So that has groomed me for a while, but I consider every single day as a learning curve, because I learn every day. Learning is one thing that keeps me going, and that has taken me to certain heights. So what I have achieved so far is nothing. I would say still a long way to go.
That's your modesty. But yeah, one other question I would like to ask, being a founder, entrepreneur, and all, when you have about 27 employees and you're growing steadily, what kind of attributes do you see when you hire talent for your team, for your company?
So we look at how flexible they are as a person. So that is one of the top most qualities that we look. Because if you look at the team dynamics, we are located across Europe. There is one employee from Canada. There is a team from India. So one might have to switch between different time zones. So we look at flexibility. We look at how genuine they are, because we don't require somebody who is so good at mathematics, so good at statistics, or whatever quotients that the other companies look at. In fact, out of these 24, 27 employees, we hired half of them even without looking at their resumes. So half of them come through referrals. We don't even look at their resume, but we just have a candid conversation where we see what is their vision and mission. Because if you are a person, you will have certain targets for yourself, right? We just go with the basics. We just have a candid conversation, check what their basics are, what their family background is, and what sort of efforts that they can put. So these are the things that we look in in each and every guys. And we also maintain a gender balance as well. So we try to do 50-50, but right now we are striking 40-60. So in a way, we provide ample amount of opportunities for both men and women in the
That,
organization.
that's nice. That's nice. And I really love this concept of not looking at a resume, but looking at the flexibility and depending on the referrals. I think, yeah, this is something should be a learning for rest of the startups and also well-established enterprises as well, because it is more about the attitude and the flexibility that is important in this ever-changing dynamic VUCA world and all. Wonderful. All right, so this has been serious conversation, Vijay. Let us lighten up the mood of our audience. So if you're okay, I'm going to kick off a quick rapid fire round wherein you can answer questions crisply. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to those rapid questions.
Wonderful. Yeah, let me fire the first bullet, Vijay. What has been your childhood fantasy?
Always wanted to be a cricketer. Because that is what one answer you can expect from at least 500 million Indians. As a child, you grow up watching players like Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, and Rahul Dravid, and other stalwarts. So wanted to be a cricketer. My dad wanted me to be an IAS, IPS, which every other dad wants their child to become. But then I ended up as an engineer, and now a tech entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Now, I initially wanted to ask you what is your favorite sport. By looking at this cricket being your favorite sport, maybe name your favorite player across all different sports.
I really love MS Dhoni.
Okay. For his coolness, yeah, Captain Cool. Right?
Yeah. He's giving himself cool across various situations. So that is one thing that I am learning from him and trying to implement that in what I do. But yeah, still a long way.
All right. Now, can you describe yourself in one word or maximum one phrase?
So I would still go with the Mr. Cool tag. Like to go that way, but yeah, I mean, having talked about cricket and Dhoni, I wish to take another term, proactive. I
Proactive.
would say proactive. Yeah, because
Awesome.
I look at things in advance, because I'm not a reactive guy. When something happens, I don't react. Rather, I try to be proactive. That is what has kept me going.
Yeah. All right. So this brings me to my next question. What is one thing that you'd like to change in your past?
Something that that could have helped me enter into this entrepreneurship much earlier, because I feel that I'm late to the party. but to be honest, nothing is late.
Yeah.
You are never too late for anything.
That's right. Better late than never. Yeah, fair enough. All right. Let me fire the last bullet out of the rapid fire. What is one electronic gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself, Vijay?
That comes from the last question, probably a time machine, so that I can rewind the clock back and jump into this entrepreneurship probably a couple of years earlier to what I have did now.
Yep, interesting. All right, so that was a fabulous rapid fire. And before I let you go, one final question for today's conversation, Vijay. What will be your one piece of advice to those aspiring to make big in their careers?
Be consistent. Consistency is something that you should preach, practice, and implement. So, being consistent can do wonders. Just try something in your life and try to be consistent. That can do wonders. You will thank me later.
Absolutely. In fact, so far, one of the very few things that are working for us is being consistent. Like it's been over 2 years that we started the Guiding Voice, but we never missed launching 2 episodes per week ever since we committed to that. Yeah. I strongly believe in that consistency for sure.
That's an amazing consistency. I mean, because having done 240 episodes itself tells the world that how consistent you guys are. And I wish that it hits 1,000 and also more in the coming months and years to come.
Yeah. Thank you. And we aspire to be in the top 2.5% of the podcast globally in the next 1 year, because in the first 14 months, we made it to top 5%, but our next goal is top 2.5% that takes us to the next level. So we are constantly improving and demonstrating that continuous improvement as well. And first of all, kudos to guests like you who are taking time out of the busy schedules and making it happen, right? So hearty thanks to everyone, including you, who has been part of our journey. And on that note, thank you so much, Vijay, for being part of the Guiding Voice journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Truly appreciate your time, and all the insights are really powerful. And I'm sure our audience are going to get inspired by this conversation.
Cool then. Thanks again for having me, and wish you all the very best for the upcoming episodes as well as your career.
Sure. Thank you so much, Vijay. And all right. So, folks, before we move into the trivia section, here is a small request to you. In case if you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe from the app where you have tuned in from, so that you'll be notified about all the future episodes. Also, if you have loved this conversation just like I did, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who can benefit from the Guiding Voice, so that they can also learn new stuff like you, and we will gain a set of new subscribers. Thank you so much in advance. Now let's cruise into the trivia segment of today's episode. Today's trivia is about first NFT. Vijay has spoken about how do we secure these non-fungible tokens. Now let's take a dig at the history in terms of when was this first NFT sold in the market and how did it all happen. So as per a report by Alternative Press, the first NFT emerged way back in 2014. And 5 years after the introduction of Bitcoin, the minting and selling of NFTs began. And the first NFT was created by a person named Kevin McCoy in May of 2014. And he minted Quantum, which raked in $1.4 million at a Sotheby's auction in November 2021. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. In case if you have any suggestions related to some good topics as well as speaker recommendations, please feel free to drop me a note on social media platforms or email us at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. Friends, I'm your host Naveen, a fellow IT professional and a passionate learner on a mission to make a difference in the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Until next time, bye-bye. See you all in the next episode.